Mr. Speaker, let me also make my comments on this very important bill, the Division of Revenue Bill 2026. Mr. Speaker, as you all know, this is a bill that allocates the money between the two levels of government, the national government and the county government. And this bill proposes that 420 billion be allocated to the 47 counties. Mr. Speaker, this is only 5 billion higher than what was allocated in the last financial year. That is 2025-2026. And when we came to this house, 2022-2023, we allocated 370 billion to the counties. And now this bill proposes 420. That in 5 years, it means we have only managed to allocate 50 billion within the 5 years. Now that translates to 10 billion per year, which is very little money to our counties. I want to start on a disappointing note, Mr. Speaker, that the 420 billion that is proposed here is far much lower than what CRA had proposed. CRA had proposed 458 billion. The committee chaired by my able friend Senator Roba, Finance Committee, has proposed 454 billion. Mr. Speaker, when the committee proposes a high amount, we all get excited about it. But when the bill goes to mediation, they always come with a lower figure, much lower. If there is any improvement, it goes up maybe by a few billions, 5 billion or something like that. We hope this time that those who will be on the mediation committee will push for a higher figure, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, I'm saying that because there are important issues that we must give judicial notice. The first issue, Mr. Speaker, you know that this House worked extremely hard through our two committees, the CPAC and CPIC, to ensure that we process the audit reports in line with Article 229 of the Constitution, which says that within 3 months after the publication of the audit report, then the Houses of Parliament must debate, examine, and take appropriate action. We have done that. But has that translated into the computation of division of revenue? The answer is no. Because the figures that have been used here are for the latest approved audit report by the National Assembly, which is 2022-2023. That is about 3 years behind, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, the essence of Article 229 and the judgment of the court, because there was a court ruling that the Houses must strictly adhere to Article 229. If we have adhered to Article 229 as a Senate, and now we are proposing to share lower money to our counties because we are using the audit report approved by the National Assembly for 2022-2023. This is something that this House must take notice. That the House has complied in terms of Article 229, but the National Assembly is not complying. And if the National Assembly is not complying, then basically what it means, Mr. Speaker, is that this bill we are actually debating today is unconstitutional because it has not complied to Article 229 of the Constitution. It has only used the figures for 2022-2023, and that is not in line with the Article 229 of the Constitution. So I want to even as governors have been fighting with us on attending the two committee meetings, one of the things that they overlooked is that actually if they complied and we met the deadline of 31st of March, they should have actually gone to court to compel the National Assembly to comply, so that the figures that will be used to compute the division of revenue will be the latest audited accounts. I think in the next division of revenue, which will be coming when we are almost campaigning to be elected in different positions, we must insist on compliance to Article 229 of the Constitution, Mr. Speaker. Otherwise, then the ruling of the court on the matter of 229, if applied to this division of revenue, it means this division of revenue is actually unconstitutional. The second issue that we need to take judicial notice is that there is this document that I and members of the Linda Mwananchi, we have been pushing hard. The 10 points agenda that was signed between the late party leader of ODM, Honorable Raila Amolo Odinga, and the President William Ruto. They made a commitment in writing that with effect from the financial year 2024-2025, counties will get 450 billion. Now, that never happened in 2024-2025. It never happened in 2025-2026. And now we are actually going to the last division of revenue, probably the second last division of revenue before we go to the election. And we have not complied with that provision in the 10 points agenda. You know, Mr. Speaker, our president, while receiving the so-called Zani report at KICC just a few months back, he promised that counties were going to get money as indicated in the 10 points agenda. But this division of revenue has actually confirmed to us that what the president was saying was not factual, because the figure here is 420 billion. And these are things that we keep on saying. And I wonder, Mr. Speaker, you allowed Senator Cherargei to go scot-free with the accusation against the opposition, that the opposition is keeps on talking things which are not factual. This is on paper. It is on the bill, the division of revenue bill. The president promised when they were launching that report that they were going to comply. Now the figure here is 420. Now this is the last, probably the last, actually the second last before the election. And now we have not complied. So I want to urge Senator Roba and those who will be on the mediation committee that will, because this bill will definitely go to mediation, because the committee has decided on 454 billion, to go and sit down with those in the National Assembly to tell them that even for no other reason, if they really valued Honorable Raila Amolo Odinga, who was a champion of devolution in this country, they just need to give us 454 billion. And that will be above the 450 billion that Raila had wanted our counties to enjoy. On that basis alone, if this bill goes to mediation and the National Assembly decides to give us 5 billion so that we go to 425, I'm sure Honorable Raila is going to turn in his grave. And this government is making decisions that make Raila to keep on turning in his grave. This maybe should be one of the few decisions that are going to be made to make him happy in heaven where he is. Mr. Speaker, looking at the bill also, there is something called the national interest programs. I have read through, and clearly there are so many programs or projects in our counties that ideally should be included under national interest, which are not included, Mr. Speaker, and which are devolution in nature. I want to give an example. Construction of markets in the counties. Market is a devolved function. But who are doing markets in counties? It's the national government, through members of parliament. You have seen huge markets being constructed and governors have no idea. The budgets for this money, governors have no idea. I expected that that should have been considered as part of the national interest programs in this bill. The other one, Mr. Speaker, is construction of stadiums in our counties. That's another devolved program. Now you see all over our counties, those stadiums are being constructed and these stadiums are being supervised by the military, meaning that we cannot even scrutinize the expenditure in these projects. We expected, at the minimum, the national interest component in this bill should have captured construction of stadium. There are also projects in our counties, and this is one issue that I expect the Finance Committee and even the Auditor General to take note, that we have roads which have been constructed by the county government. And then you find at some point the county government is not, especially cross-border, cross-county programs. You find that one county does a road, reaches somewhere at the boundary of the other county, and because the other county does not have sufficient funds, they go to national government, and the national government allocates money to finish that other component of the road on the other county. Mr. Speaker, this is very irregular, and something has to be done. I hope the Auditor General is going to take note of such commingling of funds between in the projects that are done by the national government and the projects that are done by county government. I want to give you an example, Mr. Speaker. We have a road in my county from Ikolomani in Kakamega County all the way to a place called Chavakali through Iregi. That road, during Oparanya's time, they did 9 kilometers of road using County of Kakamega funds. Then there remained a small portion from a place called Luciola to Chavakali Junction, about 2.5 kilometers. Then the other day you saw the president coming to launch it and saying he's launching an 11-kilometer road, factoring in the component of Kakamega. And the funds have been allocated. Mr. Speaker, this is how funds are lost. Because we pushed for money to small counties, to Vihiga. They should have used that additional funds we gave them to complete that road and allow the president to do another fresh road. Because if you allow the national government to come and do a portion of the road, which is done by the other county, that is where corruption comes in. So, Mr. Speaker, that is one of the areas that this committee should look into. Mr. Speaker, there is also the issue of universal health care component in this division of revenue, which is only focused on workers, paying salaries for the workers. But I want to tell you, as a chair of CPIC, the UHC program in our county hospitals, most hospitals are struggling. They are not compliant to the health model in terms of number of equipment, in terms of number of staff, number of specialists, because they are underfunded, Mr. Speaker. This bill should have factored that in this bill. Mr. Speaker, when we talk about public debt, which is factored in here, you saw the other day IMF saying that the public debt in this country is not factual, because there are so many other debts which have not been declared. And they said they go back and declare the debts. Looking at this, you get that impression that the figures here are not complete figures. Public debt position of this country is worrying. And you heard the Auditor General saying the other day that he does not know how much public debt we have, because she was not given access to the information so that she can know the actual public debt position of this country. Mr. Speaker, without that valid information, practically speaking, this bill is unconstitutional. But because we are not very thorough in handling some of these issues, we let them pass as it is. But how I hope the Finance Committee could dig deeper into this issue of public debt, so that when they bring figures in the division of revenue, we should be in a position to question. Mr. Speaker, as we pass this division of revenue, the element of accountability is also very important. We cannot be a house that just passes money to counties without adequate accountability. There is a lot of stealing in our counties. And Mr. Speaker, our accountability committees, oversight committees, every year they give recommendations on what needs to be done, particularly recommendation to investigate and prosecute county officials who are involved in corruption. Mr. Speaker, we are being let down by EACC. We are being let down by EACC. And I think one day we should invite the Director General of EACC to appear before a committee of the whole House to tell us what is happening with the EACC. Because now, if you are a governor, you can steal, you can do whatever you do. All you need is just to become two-term. Just say two-term. Or just be seen to be moving around with the president. And now, that is how you survive. And that's why we told the president the other day, when we were passing this audit report, we said that if the president, if there is any governor who has bad reports, and you are the president and you know, run away from them. Run away from them. Because you cannot be moving around with the people who misappropriate public funds, and they come to you. All they need to do is that we support you. We do what? That is not enough. Our people need get value for the public money that is sent to the counties. Mr. Speaker, I've looked at this bill, and I hope that the committee position of 450 billion will be the final figure that this House is going to approve. And this time around, Mr. Speaker, this time around, because this is practically my last division of revenue, because the other one is going to be in next year when we are just about to go to election. So it may not, I may not be there to oversight it, because I will have moved on to other roles, Mr. Speaker. But this one is the main one. We want to insist, and Mr. Speaker, I want to state, I want to be part of the committee on mediation, because I feel that we are not doing much at the mediation stage, so that we get a higher figure. At least 450 billion will be practical. Because, Mr. Speaker, we still have so many functions which have not been transferred to the counties. And the money to it has not been transferred. And we have other functions which have been transferred, but without the money. If you look at it, if we had to transfer all the functions with the money, then we would easily achieve a higher shareable revenue. But we are having a lower shareable revenue, and we seem to be very helpless as a Senate. I want to say that if we have to fight, this is the only division of revenue that will bring us back to this House or will give us new roles. If we are going to go for another addition of 5 billion, as usual, to come to 425, we shall have failed the family of devolution. We need 450 and above. And the committee that is going to mediate with the National Assembly should take judicial notice of the fact that the father of devolution in this country, one Raila Amolo Odinga, died crying for 450 billion. And this government, you can do anything to legacy of Raila Odinga, including destroying his party, but give him his price for devolution, and his price for devolution is 450 billion shillings. And in this case, we have said 454 billion shillings. Mr. Speaker, I support.
Next is Senator Mudigi.
Asante